Good afternoon there, Commissioner.
How you doing?
Good. Okay, it is 1:30 and we're going to go ahead and start this workshop. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Dude.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First thing on our agenda, we have a discussion as it's related to a criminal justice grant. Sheriff Nowlin.
If it connects, it was working. It's kind of the way that things are going for me today. So, do you have it?
I had sent all this stuff when I got EMTU also, so like normal, it's all.
Because I can't connect. So,
It's connecting. We got a new
okay,
process.
I'll give it a try now. Thanks. Come on. Okay, so this is the grant that we submitted back in June of this year from the Division of Criminal Justice for the replacement of mobile radar units and 2 LiDAR units, as well as for replacing the VHF radios. We got a letter from DCJ Grant Coordination back about 60 days ago or better that said that we were going to be fully funded. And we've been waiting for this, and it just came in. So this is the award letter. It is for $92,942. That covers all of the costs for this equipment. And there should not be any costs other than this. It's already done. Radios will be programmed the way that they're supposed to. That cost is covered in this. So it does go until, I got to look at my note here. It was effective October the 1st of this year and expires September the 30th of next year. I would like to ask for your approval so that we can get this equipment and get it paid for.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just
It sounds like a good deal to
I'm
me.
looking at you because you're always the guy
It's
that
free.
I mean,
Okay.
this
gives
is
me the okay on the
this is
yay sign or nay sign.
this is pretty easy. I never object to anybody giving us money, I mean, so, especially when there's no hidden fees. So,
So will this
Straight
come back
reimbursement.
through as the DocuSign again now?
This is the document here that it should have been sent to you by
Yeah, but-
DCJ.
I can't sign
get
them
into
until
it
they
by
get in
DocuSign.
public, and they always expire. So they they typically have like a 24-hour expiration, but then they'll resubmit them.
Did it? I don't know.
So I don't ever
signed
sign
mine.
anything until it goes
So-
first to Ian in the contract, and then it'll come back to me, obviously, as a DocuSign, typically.
It
So
was
I-
sent directly to you as a DocuSign, but.
Correct.
whatever. Yeah.
But it'll be expired.
Oh. Just reaching out to them, they can resend it. Or I can have our admin, division supervisor, the grant writer, send that back, because
yeah,
I signed it already, so. But it gets sent to
I would-
you.
I mean, we'll just approve it at tomorrow's meeting and then
Yeah.
just
So typically,
sign. I don't know. DocuSign goes over my head. That's beyond my.
Until it's approved, obviously on Tuesdays, we don't,
I understand that.
sign it.
I understand that, but I'm saying that was forwarded, I know it was forwarded to you.
yeah, I've got it because then I forward it to Ian.
And it typically shouldn't expire, but if it has, let us know, please let me know. We'll get it taken care of.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Otherwise, we can sign it tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, I typically, as soon as we approve it,
Well, this just looks like a great grant.
2 minutes later, I sign it right here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
we will.
been waiting. I was afraid that Proposition HH was they were waiting until they figured out what they were gonna do, because it's state funding, and I don't know.
Could be.
You know, you think of the worst all the time, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, but finally, got it just last week. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, so I was told you were gonna be tardy and I was gonna go beyond you, but. So go ahead. All right, come on down, Rob. I was not expecting you till 2:30.
Well, it was a closeout meeting with CDOT and the federal grant program people, and they're just crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is. And so it was a Zoom meeting, and it was set up for an hour. They hoped to be done in an hour, or I mean a half hour, 45 minutes, but it went real good. So, and the reason is because we got a good engineering firm backing us up and did good record keeping, and all that's right, and everybody's real pleased with everything. So that's why I'm here from Native on Time.
All right, great.
So I guess what we'll do is my presentation for tomorrow, my regular monthly deal, would be the December work activities. We're still blading some roads and working on some shoulders. Probably we'll do that through this week and maybe even into next week, depending on the weather. We have had a couple of little short storms come in over the last couple of weeks and got things good and wet and made for good blading. So we're taking care of some roads that needed bladed and not having to have water trucks out there. We're also graveling some roads out in the Roundup District. We're still working on that, still going along with that pretty well. There's no frost in the ground yet, so let it dry a little bit and get after that and keep working that direction. Towards the end of the month will be more of the trimming the trees type work, snow removal, cleanup, even though we did send out some plows the last 2 weekends for light work, some sanding. I think around Christmas we're looking at some heavier snows. So that will probably be most of the work for the month of December. The bridge opening, thank you for coming. Appreciated that. And I think a lot of people did, and I've seen a lot of good comments on our webpage, and a lot of people
You're very
are happy.
welcome. And I did not mean to take your scissors away from you by any means.
No problem, buddy. Them were a big pair of scissors. You handled them well. So that was good. So I think that was a good deal. The bridge is wrapping up. Like I mentioned, today was a little bit of a meeting with the CDOT group. I don't see any issues with all the closeout. We have a couple of minimal change orders that we had to do, very little money. So in the retrospect, I think this bridge is going to come in under budget, certainly on time. So all in all, it's been a good project. It went well. The little bit of change orders we got with some angle iron for the approach slabs. We went ahead and did some galvanized angle iron to put in there to bump off of that concrete so we don't skull or spald that concrete with snow plows, and a little bit of final concrete quantity adjustments. So, you know, when you think about the amount of work and that minimal amount of change orders, that's really a good job. So, done well.
Yeah,
So,
that's,
yeah. So,
changers are pretty typical.
yeah, and you know, as a good contractor, you can't beat local anyway, and when you have one that good at local, it's even better. So it just went very smooth. So, you know, and then again, he's local too. It helped when we were down and out a little bit waiting for something like a crane, asphalt to come in. He was able to take his crews and go do other work that wasn't related to the bridge. So you don't see a lost time or a claim for time or any of that stuff. You just see it moving in and out with resources, and it worked out real well. So just very, very well done. So I wanted to go over also Road 36. It's been a month or two since I was here, but it seems like last time I was asking for some money to build a little bridge. Well, this is a video here. Travis, if you can hit the go button on it. Oh, okay. Well, it's too bad because it's kind of a neat video, but this was this spring, you know, 7 months ago, and that water was running across the road up there at Road 36 up there above Stapleton Bridge. So this is the issue we were having this spring, knowing full well our little 6-foot culvert wouldn't do the trick. So then we finally lost the road completely. And there's another video, follow up with that. A lot of trash collecting on that pipe. See that big steel pipe right there? That's in the picture. rocky water, backing it up actually. There's where we lost the road from. So we knew we were in trouble. We knew we had to come up with something better than this. You can see upstream the water coming in has a massive amount of water. And, you know, it doesn't do that every year. But when it does do it, it does a lot. It drains out of hay camp. A lot of that tributary comes out of that hay camp area. So with your help with getting us some money here, we went ahead and applied for, I'm done applied, but got a bid out to Rosso Construction or Contract or Concrete, and we started the process of this culvert. This is a picture of the forms, and got not the forms, but the footings, and then we're doing the slab interior. And starting the first day of putting up the multi-plate system. And this is the one that you guys bought for Rock Creek there, Gerald, years ago. Back in 2007, actually, is when that was purchased. Wrapping it up, doing some backfill. And then putting some rock containment on the upstream end to backfill against.
How wide is that, Rob?
That
That's pretty
is
wide.
20 feet, 11 inches, 21 feet.
20, oh,
Yeah, and
So it's
6 feet at the highest, so it's got the little radius to it, but it's like having 4 6-foot culverts in there, basically. you
Yeah.
know.
so it's pretty,
Right at that.
pretty
or
big
at least 3.5.
capacity.
Mhm.
so it
Plus,
almost
we're not bulkheading up against that culvert. We're letting it flow through the
It'll-
same width as the channel. right?
some big debris can flow through
Big
that.
debris and a lot of water without pressuring up against creating that turbulence, you know,
Yeah.
that we talked about last time, so.
Mhm.
And so here's kind of the finished look at it. We've cleaned out the inlet approach and bulkheaded up over with some rock, and we've got about 18 to 24 inches of gravel over the top of the pipe on the upstream side. Downstream, we've cleaned out the outlet structure or channel also underneath that pipe. That pipe was about a foot of clearance is all that was there. All that gravel that washed out had washed underneath that pipe, which is no more than a sleeve carrying an irrigation pipe, but it's restricting things. It's causing things to spread, you know. And so we cleaned that out, went downstream, got with the owners of the property, and they were good with us cleaning out a little bit of that stuff that washed out and cleaned out the whole thing for a better flow. And there's the road, all put back together and waiting for a big old winter this year. So
Yeah, that looks way better. That's, how long has that been sitting there? You said like,
2007 or 8. when
Well,
we bought that
2007, they
culvert.
bought it for Rock Creek,
oh,
yeah.
gosh,
Yeah, so. and
15
didn't-
years?
Oh, 16,
Yeah.
quickly in my head, something like
Good,
that.
good place.
Yeah.
Good place to put it to
Well,
work. And that was
It
I
was,
think we-
Commissioner, it was a perfect place for it. 'cause,
75,000? Is that what
we
that-
actually got approved for 75,000, we poured concrete for 73,000. So we come in under budget on our concrete.
we got another bridge,
and got
box
that.
culvert.
Yes.
We got a box
Or,
culvert.
or a bridge.
Bridge.
You can look at
Oh,
it both ways.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But I don't think, you know, I know everybody said, well, that's not very high. Well, that's how high the old bridge was, because our road grade's the same. So the old bridge is only 6 foot tall, and it was 20
but
foot
you
wide.
Have a lot
It was
more.
square, you know,
Yeah.
so, and we never had an issue until it finally rotted out of there and fell in, so
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be fine. I don't, and then we did leave, you couldn't see it in the picture, we did leave a 30-inch culvert as a bypass. If it does raise up above our culvert, the new one, it has another 30-inch
Oh.
culvert to kind of
Somewhere on the
emergency
side.
flow. So, balance, so. And we raised, up through the creek there upstream, we raised the embankment, so it didn't flow out in that low area, make it channel all the way to the pipe before it goes over, and that keeps it from flooding around us, so.
So is that just a natural, I'm sure it's just a natural drainage, right? It just
Yes.
goes into that little,
That canyon runs quite a ways up there. Are you talking about toward hay camp?
yeah, because it goes all the way back up, right?
Right.
It picks
It
up,
goes- It goes
All-
clear up
everything
there
off.
by the old corral that
Yep,
Wallace has
yep.
had in their
Where
cabin,
Wallace is
doesn't
there,
it?
mhm.
It's where it comes, as you're going up hay camp, you go by that one old corral up there that's right beside the road.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there's, and Millard, Leslie, Millard, I guess, yeah. Where his old cabin was, that all drains.
Oh, yeah.
All down through there. Drains that whole area from there all the way down. So that's a lot of country.
so we've picked up 4 times the capacity then,
Yeah.
at
yeah,
least.
Easily. Well, because it's not restricted in a 6-foot hole, it's open and. you know, like a-
Correct. Yeah,
What do
yeah,
they
yeah.
call them, elliptical culvert?
Yeah.
They work pretty good. But you know, it's like, in all the years that I've been up there, we've had 3 maybe bad ones. This year was the worst, obviously. We had a great spring. But if you don't get a lot of snow in the lower elevations, this thing doesn't get that active. But
Yeah,
this year, we
right.
had tremendous amounts of snow down low too, and when it came hard.
You may have every 5 years or 10
Could
years
be,
that
could be not again for 5 years, and it could be
Yeah.
another good one this year, you just don't
Yeah.
know, you know, so.
correct.
So there's been years where we never had a problem, so, but then were the bad years where we didn't have no water too, so.
I talked to a guy at CCI, and I don't think I have it with me, but about this same kind of stuff. And they're doing one in Archuleta County starting very soon. I told them to keep us kind of apprised of the situation, and then we go look at it too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But
These are actually easy to put together. I mean, it didn't take.
That's what he said. He said your crews can put these together other than maybe the concrete, which is basically what you did here.
You're right. Yep.
So-
We're not set up for concrete. We don't
No,
have the
no,
tools
no,
and
no.
all that, obviously, but, you know, minus that, every bit of it was just rattle guns and
Yep,
put the metal together and put the bolts in, you know,
and then backfill it.
and then backfill, right? So I would recommend a concrete company that's
Yeah.
knowledgeable a little bit on forming footings and slabs, but other than that, pretty simple stuff, actually.
Yeah, so we got basically another bridge for 150,000.
Right.
Well, I guess
And
the
this
cost
bridge-
was already, for the structure was already paid for a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Those guys did that back in 2007 for Rock Creek, and it was
Yeah.
paid for, and it just sat there, and, you know, it's all aluminum, so it didn't rust or anything, it didn't deteriorate. It wasn't hard to figure out either. We probably challenged ourselves on how to do it more than we should have, because it really wasn't as bad as it looked. You know, so.
A plus A, B plus B, C
A lot of
plus
bolts.
C.
We finally got down to a lot of bolts. you
A lot
know,
of bolts,
so,
yeah.
So, then the next slide presentation, this is a project out on Road 20, north of Areola, up there by Lewis Areola School. We are actually on a CDOT inspection on this one. It's scouring underneath the footings. So this is what they were finding, was a deterioration or a scouring underneath the footing on this particular multi-plate, same thing. Next slide. So I hope they don't, yeah, they might be turned backwards on you, I don't know. Yeah. So we met with CDOT over on a Zoom call, or their engineering firm, and discussed what we could do. And they said if we would dig down along each footing, go down below the bottom of the footing, clean it out a little bit as we dig it out, and then pour concrete back into it, about 3 or 4 inches up on that footing, and then cover it back up, that would be a approved repair. So we got a little mini X rented, and we see it in here digging, and we went down inside this multiplate and dug those footings out and exposed them, and they were actually okay. They were sitting on bedrock. There wasn't no more deterioration, but, you know, once you're there and you're already on the list, just go ahead and fix it for a little bit of concrete, you know.
So this is almost the same type of a structure.
Yep, sure is. Just almost exactly the same.
Almost
Where
the
we
same.
poured a slab, this is just a native bottom and sitting on bedrock, and this is some of the problems you get into, is this undermining or scouring underneath the footings. And like I said, I doubt that you would have ever seen a problem based on it being on that bedrock, but what the heck, if you're gonna dig it out and look at it, you might as well pour some concrete in it. We used 5 yards of concrete here, no big deal there. So you can see the crew in there with a line pump. We had Bradshaw come in with his line pump, and we stuck that down in there, and we're pouring that footing, or pouring that concrete back in under those scoured footings. And then dressed it all back up, and there's our new bottom, so. Which is good, because now
And that-
it'll probably channel its own dirt out of there in the spring when we have big runoff, and then it'll hit that new concrete, and it won't get underneath the old concrete, and we're all set to go, so. And that probably cost us, I figured maybe $3,000 between the rental and that concrete to fix this and get off the list, the CDOT's do something with the list, so. We've got 2 more bridges in Mancus, one over on Road 43, and run on Road J, has similar situations going on that we need to address. If we don't get them this winter, we'll catch them next year. Something similar. The one on J also needs a little bit of deck work. The pans are getting a little bit deteriorated, so we've got to grind it off and redo it. But we can fix whatever bridges we have on CDOT's list of things you're watching without spending a lot of money. And, you know, this off-road bridge program is a great program for a big bridge, but it's pretty heavy laden with work and money just to get to that point for little things like this, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
advise.
but if these are approved repairs, I mean, that's
Pretty easy to fix.
pretty
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
I mean, unless you had deterioration of the actual,
Right. We didn't.
Culvert.
I mean, I didn't show it. We have a little bit of a rusting on one corner, but it's minimal. It's just more surface discoloration than it is actual deterioration of the metal. And you know, like the bridge we put on up there on Road 36 is made out of aluminum. It's all pure aluminum, so
Yeah.
it'll never rust, so, yeah. So this is two big projects we got done, and we got two more in Mancus to do in the next year or so, and get those done, and then we're in pretty good shape on our bridges. As far as bridge inspections go with the CDOT and their inspection engineering group, we're in good shape for Montezuma County, so.
Good. So just a few more to do some
And
little,
small ones too, nothing big, yeah.
little stuff?
Mhm.
Good.
So,
Good deal.
Guess that's it for that stuff. I did want to talk to you about Road 41. Ian and I have been talking a little bit about it. I don't know if you've brought him up to speed on any of that.
No, I was gonna bring him up to speed in my report tomorrow,
Okay.
but go ahead and,
Go ahead.
if you wanna fill in with where
So-
we're at.
41 down
Didn't
Weber
we-
Canyon.
We gave
is-
that road away, right? No.
No. The owners never did take their fences down or move them out of the way, which you've heard us come conversing back and forth. So the people down there that live down there, they're kind of in a mess. So we went ahead down there last week, took a blade down. We didn't tear any posts down. We didn't break any wire, I don't think. But we did poke holes through the berms, and the mess has been created because of the fences to drain water off the road. But we got to do something. The place is for sale. I guess they're leaving, and I don't know where we're going to go, but Ian's assured me we're going to have to make this change here, and he'll visit with you about the legal side of this and what we can do down there to get these fences moved and get them out of the way. My preference would be, if they don't want to do it, they pay for somebody to come take them out, form a contract or whatever, roll it up and give them their post back, you know? That's the way I would look at it. Be something that he'll probably talk to you about. But
Yeah, I mean, that's,
So I thought this was determined a long time ago that they were gonna move that fence, like 6, 8 months ago.
the fence was supposed to be moved, it hasn't moved.
Gotcha.
So,
Don't we have a lot of guys in the jail out there that we could take down there and put them to work?
the sheriff.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess where my problem is we don't want to tear something down that doesn't belong to us. It's their
Sure.
materials.
yeah.
I guess we could. I mean, we've been sued before. I was trying to avoid it. But we need to do something so we can fix the road so it'll drain and we can get water off the road so these people don't slog through
No, I'm-
actual deep mud all winter.
I'm sure we can,
I think we can.
we can find somebody
yeah.
to get down there and get that removed. I'm sure we can do that.
Well, and I think Rob makes a good point too. I mean, you know, probably getting a court order to remove the fence is probably the best process to do that. Put it in their court rather than putting it in our court and forcing us to go through the process of getting somebody down there and contracting it. You know, that fence is in the right of way. The court determined that right of way. And so now we just need to get that court order and we'll move forward with that.
And then last week, I went out to Dolores County with Junior and we went to their commissioners meeting regarding Road 31. I never really got a clear answer what they're going to do, but I don't think they'll be doing any logging out there this winter. That's my opinion.
I think I got a pretty clear answer at CCI.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that feeling too, but they didn't really say it then, so. They were gonna leave the road open until November 30th and then maintain anything prior to the November 30th, and after November 30th, it was all up in the air. I really didn't leave
Yeah, it
there.
sounded like they're logging, well, the conversation that we had, it sounded like they were gonna allow them, until they closed the road, they were gonna allow them to get their product off the forest.
Right. I
So
think-
depending on whenever they close the road, it could be tomorrow, it could be
Yeah.
whenever. But their permit was only good until the end of November, the way
Right.
it sounded,
Right.
for the logging permit.
Right.
But here again, this is
You're right on track. That was exactly what was
the
discussed.
conversation that we were having in Denver last week.
So,
But then after that, it did not sound like it was going to be, there was no real reason to keep it open. He said they had a couple different proposals. One, they were going to plow the road, but then close the road, and I'm like, well, that doesn't sound good at all. So they didn't think it sounded good anyway. We pretty well got up to speed last week. We actually had obviously a lot of time with a lot of other commissioners, so,
I'm glad because it was still kind of up in the air with the logging company and their willingness to plow the road, if Dolores County was willing to let them plow the road. And I don't think they had a real clear answer on any of that 2 weeks meeting ago. So
well, they were,
so they-
well,
they
I
made
can
up
tell
their
you,
mind since
I can
this.
tell you at 3:30
Yeah.
yesterday, there was a grader at the T at 5:33 and,
Was it CDOT? I mean, not CDOT, but the
no.
Forest Service? Oh.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say there was a grader.
There was only one part of that road I was concerned about. That was from Butler's Corner to Dolores, and I was very clear that we'll keep the road open all winter, and if they want to run on it, they can, but in the spring, we would probably put some spring thaw restrictions on it for temporary, and that's about as far as I go. And they were very understanding to that, so.
Yeah,
that
because
was-
on the way home, it was pretty easy to drive home.
Yeah,
Didn't have to drive through what I went up there and.
yeah.
So when we're speaking of that road, I did also notice that those signs on that curve are not flashing. So I don't know
Yeah.
if we have to turn those off and on, or,
You know, I'll explain what the deal is there. There is a web page you go to or a way to download an app onto your cell phone to make those come on and off. And Tom Rice has that now.
okay.
His daughter is still in school though, and he can't get her up there to figure out the app, just like the rest of us old people. So I don't know exactly what we're gonna do there, but he's working on it. And Tom has been assigned to get him on and flashing. I said, if I was you, I'd get a ladder and climb up there and see if there's a switch. And just leave them on, you know, but we do that down on Road G.
Yeah.
And he may look into that, but he is actually, just like the rest of us, trying to get his app to
So,
work.
okay, so I'll call Tom Rice.
Yeah, and we knew that. That's why we gave them the box, because this is something.
Because I saw that yesterday, I'm like, gosh, those should be flashing right now.
Yeah, no, this challenge
As I
is
came
our-
off the hill.
Yeah, this is a little challenge for us older guys.
All right, I understand.
But we're working on it. And I told Tom, I need an answer today. I'm going in to talk to Mr. Candelaria today, and I want an answer.
And
brought
you
it
knew
up.
I'd probably been on that mountain, huh?
Just a couple times, yeah, so. They did tell us that MedVed, Nate Hicks's company is doing the maintenance on the road this year for Kinder Morgan. And we did have a couple of the ranchers call and ask if we could sand it, and we gave them Kinder Morgan's phone number, and by golly, Bean Canyon got sanded. So they did a good job. So I'm very happy to hear that. So that was right after Thanksgiving, they were gonna haul some cows out of there and sanded that up, so. So they're on it, so that was good.
Good deal.
Ormiston, we're just about ready to complete their 25,000-ton contract for 2024. Since we was in there, we got the 1-inch done, we're working on the 3-inch. I'm trying to get up there this week to haul some 1-inch of our own out, get it down here in the lower elevation to stockpile for the winter and the mud this spring, but we're not having much luck, so maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't, depends on the weather. Then the plant, we're gonna break it down and haul it out there, and it's headed to McElmo here in about a week and a half, so, in about a week. So we'll be out of there. I do have a contract with McElmo owners to sign, or leave here for you to talk about it. We can talk about it and then sign it tomorrow, if you would. So, then one more thing I wanted to visit about. We are now have hired 8 new people to run plow trucks and blades, so be careful when you see a plow truck coming, it's probably a rookie. And we're doing our best and training as fast as we can. We still have 3 temporary guys working for us to come and go, and we're still short 2 full-time people. And probably some of the 8 that we hired are gonna, I would say, maybe go down the road, they just won't stay because they don't like it. I can see that, a couple of them going away. So we're evolving. So I got a question about hiring procedures, not that it's a big deal, but for these temporaries, we're doing drug tests on them if they're gone over 3 months. So you take a guy like Joe, works for us a lot, retired from the county, makes a good blade operator, comes in, works during the winter maybe during chip seal, and then 3 months expires, we have to keep doing these drug tests on them. And I don't understand that, because they're all got CDLs, and they're all on the CDL
I think it's a
randoms.
federal thing, Rob. I think if they leave, and I'm just going by what we have to do, if they leave or laid off or terminated, whatever, and they do come back, there's a period of time, and it's very short, then you have to put them back as a pre-employment drug
But I'm not laying them
Screening.
off. They're on temporary status. They come and go. Now, if they lay off,
I
they
don't-
retire, and then I hire them a year later, I understand that perfectly well. But for this 3 months, if you don't watch that 3 month like he was chip sealing, I better get him back to work before 3 months is up, or else to do another $60.
I think it's just a federal thing, and I'll
Is that
ask.
okay? It
I'll
may be
find
something
out
we
for
can't
you,
do, but
because I've asked the same question.
Okay.
But it's, I don't have the answer, but I know somebody that does.
Well, if it's a law,
Because
then
we-
it's a law.
We end up having to do it too, and it's like, I understand.
Okay. Okay, that's it. We're struggling. There's gonna be some plow routes that may not get plowed, waiting for people to get hired, or waiting for people to get back in there, or finding somebody to plow them. So this is getting crunch time now, so.
So Rob, just so I understand, because I'd like to look at this as well, and I think I hear what you're saying, but these temporary workers, they're independent contractors?
No, they're just oldies, like you said.
Okay, so they're part-time county
They
employees?
were actually worked for us and had a career. Some of them had careers here, and then it's a good way to make a few
But
extra
then
bucks.
they're not they're not on any kind of payroll for several months out of the year, or how?
I got one that's been on payroll for a year, and they would like me to take him off, but I just talked to him today, and he fully intends to help us this winter. So why take him off payroll?
Okay,
He's still in the system. But we'll have to drug test him. It's been a year. I
Yep.
told him, you'll have to go down and drug test. Oh, yeah, I just took one yesterday for Target, so. I mean, it's like, good God, over and over and over, $60
So-
a pop.
Yep. So there, a pre-employment drug screen, because we have to do the same thing. So
Yep.
there's a period of time, if they're gone,
and I guess that's what I was trying to figure out, I
Well,
mean,
it's 3 months is what we're hearing from HR. HR said it's over 3
but
months.
are they gone? I mean, that's what I'm trying to boil it down to, what is their status?
They're
'Cause
gone if they would rather be in Phoenix for a week, and then they'll come home and plow snow. They're kind of come and go. And chip sealing, we use them a lot during chip seal because we need extra drivers or whatever.
Yeah.
And we bring them in for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you won't see them again for the summer. They're not much help in the summer. Oh, we'll use them from time to time, like if you got a lot of guys out on vacation for some reason or hunting season, and you're still trying to get something done. It's easy to reach out and say, come on in for a week and cover for this guy. Okay.
I'll find it for you, Rob, and
I
I'll
would
give
like
it
to be a little
you
more
to-
flexible on this if we could be. It just
Because-
makes it harder to get them drug tested, costs money, and takes time, so.
So they're never really permanently laid off.
That's what I'm boiling it down,
If
that's.
we-
what you're saying.
If they retire and then I bring them back, we are rehiring them, and I can certainly see the law
That's-
kicking in at that point. But after that, if you come and you go, what's the word temporary for? What does that mean?
But they're always
Oh, I
on
thought I said
staff.
Oldies, okay, always.
They're always on staff.
Yes, in my opinion, they are, yeah. Yep.
I'm not arguing with you. Trust me, I'm on your side because I've had this argument.
I don't think I'm looking for an
Equal.
argument, I'm looking for maybe.
It's just an answer, and I'll
some
get it
change in
for you.
policies or whatever. If it's a federal law and we can't change it, obviously we have to follow the rules.
I'm
But
pretty sure it's a federal law,
if it's a policy.
and
then
it
we
falls under
address
the,
it, but, yeah.
the DOT compliance with, well, it's under DOT compliance.
Because they all follow a CDL, right? They all have to be drug tested. They're all in the random. They're all in the warehouse, or what do they call that? Clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse.
They're all in this. And you, like the one I talked to today says, I just got mine day before yesterday. We can use it maybe. Yeah, maybe, but I doubt it. You know, so it's just a revolving door that never quits, like, okay. And it almost makes you want to go, you know what, I'm done with this one too, and we just won't plow roads. We'll go do what we can and get the next one tomorrow and go back and get that one if we can. Because it gets to be very burdensome for everybody, this office here too. But maybe not. Just do what we gotta do.
I'll find the answer for you,
That would be helpful,
because I've had the same conversation.
yeah. I imagine you're right, Commissioner, there's probably some federal law that says you gotta do it. We're not rehiring them though, we don't have to go through all the hiring procedures and all that stuff.
I think that's gonna be the important distinction. Like,
Unless, there's one out there floating around, and we're trying to get him back in here, and he's jammed up with something else, but he retired, he's available, he said, I'd love to work for you this winter, maybe even come back to work for you after the first of the year permanent, and it'd be great to get him back, he's very skilled and very knowledgeable. Well, he's different, we've gotta rehire him, so we're
Sure.
going through the system there.
Sure.
But some of these guys come and go all year long. They leave for 3 or 4 months, they come back, they do a month or two's worth of work, come and go all the time, or a week, or a day, so. Just checking if we're not wasting a lot of money here for no reason. so.
I'll get it,
Okay.
because we go through the same exact thing.
I kind of think if you're a businessman in this area, in this time, and whatever's going on out here in this crazy world we're in, if you can find somebody to drive the truck, run a loader, or do anything part-time, that's better than no time. That's better than parking it and not making no money with it. So I bet we're not the only one in this pickle, so, yeah, so. So let's, you want to talk about this lease? Do we need to discuss this? This agreement with,
I think, I looked at this is pretty much consistent with the last 3 years that we signed. The only question, and I think I asked this last time too, Rob, but how do we gauge the tons? Because this is basically the exact same contract.
how do we do what?
How do we gauge the tons per year that we give away? Or I'm sorry, we're not giving away, we're paying for the lease with gravel. So how do we don't have a scale down there that we
Yeah,
scale?
we do on our loader. Yes,
Oh, okay,
yeah, we do it with our loader.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So we load it?
We weigh each bucket and as you carry it over to get them to 200 ton, or make all 600 and be done for 3 years. That's what we did last time, so, yeah. Or belt scales on stackers. Stackers have belt scales.
Yeah, and I mean, here again, that's yeah, I get it. You're gonna be a plus or minus. It's, yeah, understand.
But yes, so the scales actually on a loader, they're legal.
Yeah.
The belt scales, maybe not so much, but the loader scales are, so. Yeah. So that's how we do it. So if you're good with that, well then, sign it tomorrow, please, and get it back
I
to
don't-
us.
I didn't see any difference in it. Is there any
No,
difference?
there's nothing.
I mean,
All
this is the same
Same thing,
one that,
same.
I don't have any questions. I think that was the same question I asked last time, wasn't it?
It just,
That-
3
that
years
was
goes
all.
by faster than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if, I know you can't sign it today, but if
No.
you sign it, get it back in the box, we'll get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no, these will all be obviously signed tomorrow, but it's just today to ask questions about anything like normal. And then, actually, I do have one question for you because it came up in our, the water shares. We had stuck a tickler in to ask you about water shares this year too, because last year you had leased them. And then this year we were gonna just let them out.
I think Travis took over.
Do you have them?
MVI
We had
water
an
shares.
agreement, right? The MVI water shares? But we had a contract, right, that we were leasing them with somebody?
Just on a year-to-year basis,
Yeah,
yeah. The cemetery, Cortez Cemetery liked a few of them, actually liked the majority of them. And there was a couple of private citizens that wanted them, and then you said no more of that, and so we gave it to Travis and said, here you go. So, you
yeah,
guys
because
can-
I think Commissioner Copenaver, you said we can put them out on the open market or whatever, and then just let everybody bid on them.
Well, the tickler I got was I no longer had it, which is fine, never wanted it. And it goes back to administration to be administered. So
Okay.
that's the last word I got on it, so
Perfect. Just,
good for you. And I do think, I did tell Virginia to, I don't remember who the private owners were last time, well, including the cemetery, let them know that we no longer will be addressing that at our office. It'll be done through administration and an
Okay.
open bid or something, so.
Yeah,
So they were gonna let them people know
it'll be
that.
better. That'll be better.
Yeah, sure. And it's not hard to lease them out. You just get them on that list down at MVI and they'll go. So. And all we were ever doing at the road department was just charging them our assessment fees. That was it.
Yeah.
So, that was all they had to pay for.
that was all I had,
Okay.
other than the signs. I already asked about that.
I was on that one. Well, it does kind of make sense to turn them on this time of year. you
Hey,
know?
Well, it was pretty icy.
Hey, Rob,
Yes, sir.
how much do you guys actually pay DWCD for water and stuff?
We don't pay them for water, they give it to us. So we give them a quantity of what we use every year, and then we turn that into them, and then they let us have that for helping with the roads and taking care of things out there where they can get to their
Okay,
facilities.
so you're not out?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Because I was gonna say, if we lease that water out, we should pay you back for what you're having to pay
did-
for that water.
At this time, Gerald, there's been no fee for that,
Okay,
and it's been working very well for us on DWCD water out of the canals that they've let us get out of.
okay.
And we have that agreement with Forest Service and everybody else concerned that we can get water out of the Dolores River forever. So that kind of put that to bed, and we have no issues with that one at all. Other than if we fail to report what we use, we could lose that privilege. So we keep good track of our load counts and turn that
Yeah.
in every year. Mhm.
Yeah, good.
So we've been leasing these, if I remember right now, we've been leasing these for like 4 years, right?
Could be even longer, yeah.
Or
5,
maybe
6.
longer, maybe 5,
4 or 5 years at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not necessarily using them like we were originally after we have this agreement
For a
with
long time,
DWCD.
the fairgrounds believed that you had to have 18 shares of water to push it up the hill, which is kind of not kind of the way it works. So we finally convinced the fairgrounds that they didn't need 18 shares. They needed maybe 2 shares to run whatever little farming operations they wanted to do, if they wanted to grow crops with 4-H or whatever. And then we took the rest of them and go, well, we ought to lease these out to pay for our assessment fees. So I don't know how the cemetery figured it out, but they found out we had extra shares and they're always wanting water, so they leased them, and then a couple of, I think there was 4 shares left over. They went out to just a few individuals for assessment. But no, this is a way better way of doing it. Give it to somebody besides us. We're a road department. We really shouldn't be in the business of leasing out shares, so.
Well, I think the open system, then everybody has the opportunity
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
bid on it.
No argument whatsoever. This is way better to do it, so. Okay,
Okay.
I guess I'll
Great.
see you in a month then, huh?
And then that email that I got, that was just a
Yeah, I understand.
FYI, passing it on. I didn't think there was, I wanted to respond to it, but I will respond to it here in public just a little bit. The road department does work when we are working and the snow is snowing. Just because they are scheduled to work 410s does not mean that they are not out working, whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, Friday.
Christmas
They are
Day.
out working Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, New Year's Eve, whatever the case may be. It just matters on the amount of snow and the snow totals in which geographical area that they are in. So I just sent it to you just
No, I understood.
so you knew it was not
It was a very odd request considering it wasn't doing much on Friday. It was Saturday morning we were worried about when it got cold and we had plows out Saturday morning sanding and brushing off the snow. That particular road didn't have any snow on it down on the hill from the Mancus up to the pit is the worst. If that hill's messy, then we'll go take care of it, but it was bare. So it was like, well, you'll live till tomorrow, you
Got-
know, because we gotta go out tomorrow anyway. you know.
pretty good sun exposure on that hill too.
Yeah, and it wasn't cold enough to be on the hill, but it was open, you know. And you get up in there in the higher country, there could have been 3 or 4 inches up there, but, you know, over the course of the day, they could have had 8 inches, but it kept melting down, and there was only a few inches. Then we went up Saturday morning, and it was zip zang and boom, and we was out of there, cleaned it off, sanded the hill a little bit, and had a nice weekend, so, yeah. But it's okay, that's what those are for, to let us know. We might have been wrong, it might have
Yeah.
been a foot up there, and we was in trouble, so,
That was all. It was just to let you know.
yeah, so, thank you,
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Yep.
Okay,
I have nothing else. Okay.
okay, see you
Thanks,
guys.
Rob. All right, next we're going to have a discussion on a capital improvement project. We have Mr. Dobry, and I guess Mr. Anderson, too.
Good afternoon. So I'll just start with a little bit of history. I had been looking at the sheriff's office and combined courts for a potential solar project because that is the most expensive electrical building to run for the county. So looking for efficiency there. And then last week, Travis and Commissioner Candelaria brought the idea of potentially kind of building out a project of, I guess, like a justice campus. So a new building that could potentially include all of the DA staff. So the DA, court, and sheriff's office would all be sort of co-located down where they are. So I guess what we wanted to talk to you about is, one, just get the commissioner's opinion on is that something that you'd want to move forward with. As far as steps after we get past that, there's some DOLA planning grants that could be available that we could apply for to do some preliminary design and engineering as part of that. And the idea would be to do some efficiency projects around solar for both that potential new building as well as the 2 existing facilities, the parking and landscaping work that we also need to do for the combined court, and kind of build it all into one project. So I think that pretty much covers it.
So that's a real quick synopsis of it. what we were talking about, and Travis has been working on this, it seems like we're running out of space. So if we could take and move the DA's office really where they should be, out there close to the combined courts, along with the PD and the SO, it puts all of the law enforcement all into one campus in the same area. Plus, it solves our problem with, the acreage that we're supposed to have been landscaped and we still have never done, and also to provide more parking in that parking lot that apparently now is overflowing. So, just an idea, just kind of to see where you guys are at. Obviously we'd have to start with planning first. It sounds like we can get a planning grant from DOLA so that we can actually start planning it, and then kind of
Yeah,
see
and
where
that-
this goes along with the solar.
That DOLA
Talk
grant, that's not on a grant cycle. We can reach out to Patrick Rondinelli about that, really at any time. So once we get kind of a go ahead, Administrator Anderson and I can reach out and kind of start getting the ball rolling on the planning side of things. And then we think that there would be future grant money from a few different avenues to help pay for that facility and the solar and the I guess other parking and beautification project to the whole campus.
And it would also fit with ADA better because it would all be a single level. It would be flat. Everything would be ramped to it. And then it solved a lot of the issues that we have out of the combined courts right now.
Is this something that the city would be involved with too? I mean, obviously, it sounds like PD would be moving there too.
No, this would just be
No.
the
It's
DA,
just-
this would be the DA's office.
It's just within walking distance of the PD if the DA has anything. But otherwise, it's just in that campus with the SO combined courts and
So it would be a new office for the district attorney.
which will then eliminates this space that we have here, then, which is the
The expansion.
expansion for social services for the program that they're trying to expand for, that they've been asking us, where are we gonna move to, what are we gonna do? So, just an idea, doesn't mean, but the first thing we have to do is plan it, to even know what the costs are. Commissioner Lindsay, you have any questions?
No, we've discussed this a little bit more, and I think we can look into the funds to help plan this out. I don't see a problem.
Okay. Commissioner?
I don't know. I just think building a whole new building there on, just for the DA's office is a reach as far as I'm concerned. I guess I need to, more idea what Kelly and them are gonna need in social service and all that stuff before I could.
Well, she'll be in here in a little bit. And this is just a planning grant. All we'd do is just start planning it. So it doesn't mean it would be attached to combine to anything else. It would just be a matter of, will this work?
Well, and as far as the planning grant, it's the planning grant for the combined court, new parking, solar. That's something we probably need to do anyway. And we could almost look at it as sort of not two phases, but two pieces of the same project. If we aren't going to end up doing a new building, then we won't do the new building, but we can at least get the planning going on parking, solar, energy efficiency, other energy efficiency things for those two facilities that are existing.
Yeah.
Correct. And if you look at this sheet that was given to us also, the costs that we are spending right now for the sheriff's office, the combined courts, it gives us and Commissioner Lindsay, I don't know if you have this or not, but it gives us the kilowatt hours that we're using into the tune of about the average around $6,700 a month, and
Yeah.
right around $80,000 annually just for these two structures. So to try and eliminate and alleviate some of those pains of what we're doing there, I mean, I'm with you. I think that we should start at least planning it minimally for at least the solar and the parking lot that, at a minimum. So, if you're okay with
Yeah,
that, Commissioner?
yeah. Oh,
Give them the
I am.
direction to move
I'm
forward
fine.
with at least,
I'm fine with that. I just, before we start building new structures, I think we need to look at things pretty serious
yeah.
before we start planning on doing stuff like that, especially in the financial situation we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
That's a very good point, Gerald.
Anything else?
No.
I think part of what we also have to look at too is that we, and correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, but every square footage that we occupy for the state, we get paid back, we get reimbursed for the square footage that we're using. So in retrospect, it would actually be, we're basically being paid. To move them out of here, we would get enough money to basically pay for the building. Now, that would be over a period of several years, but it basically would pay for it itself.
That's part of any planning process. We would be looking at the most financially efficient
Yep.
system to do for the county as a whole regarding reimbursements from the state for various departments and everything.
And it may not work, but without planning it, we don't even know. Okay? Anything else, Rob?
Not on that one.
All right. Okay, let's talk about noxious weeds then. We're
Okay.
going from weeds to the weeds.
There you go. So this is what you have in front of you is the Colorado Department of Agriculture Noxious Weeds Management Fund. It's a matching program, a 1-to-1 match for the cost share program. For 2024, Montezuma County has $10,000 budgeted for the cost share program. So we can apply for up to $10,000 for this grant. So that's what I'm requesting, is to apply for that $10,000 to match and bring the total cost share up to $20,000.
Yep. I mean, it sounds good to me. It gives us basically, as you said, we budgeted 10,000. We get the grant, it gives it up to 20,000 for the cost share program.
Yeah.
And this is just the cost share program. It's nothing else, not the free adophites, nothing else. Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have.
all right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. We have 2 more reports that we have, but I don't see,
I just texted Kelly to have her come down for her presentation.
I guess I got a question for you. Why? Good afternoon. All right, this is going to be a discussion as it is related to a remote work for the eligibility staff. And Ms. Hargraves, you have the floor.
Right. So I wanted to really take us back to why we're having this discussion. So there's a couple reasons why we're talking about this today. First and foremost, staff have requested additional flexibility within their schedules as it relates to eligibility staff. Secondarily, this would meet the need for some space, so it's an alternative solution to the space issues that we're having. And then lastly, the department has lost staff due to other eligibility departments that have eligibility staff working from home. And I hate to lose good staff. So it gives us an opportunity to be more competitive. I think there's a ton of pitfalls, cons, things that we really need to look at when we're talking about people working from home or working remotely, hybrid. But I also think there's some real positive benefits to it. Flexibility is ranked as the third priority across the country as far as taking jobs and maintaining employment in a position. We know that 98% of folks report they want their employers to be flexible. A pro to it is it reduces overhead. I read some literature today that indicated that one person working from home remotely saves $11,000, which seems crazy to me, and certainly I don't think that this is the scenario that we'd save $11,000 per person, but certainly we know overhead would be reduced in some way. There's a lot of literature out there that says that working from home, for those that want to do it, it does offer life-work boundaries, interestingly enough, because that contradicts my own core values. And lastly, we give folks some independence to do work the way they like to do work in the most comfortable setting. Some of the pitfalls, some of the things that we know are going to be issues, we know that it's a reduction in social connections with one another, with their leaders, with their team. We know that there's a real factor of digital burnout. I know when I was working from home during COVID, it was really challenging to be on Zooms all of the time and doing different things 100% virtual. And then lastly, I think there's a lot of literature out there that indicates that when people work from home, it reduces creativity. I think that's the top factor when we think about productivity from people who are working from home versus those working in the office is reduction in their creativity. But what I will say about our eligibility technicians is their jobs are not all that creative. They have to follow state and federal statutes. Certainly some of the problem solving that they're doing every day requires some creativity, but many of those workarounds are established by supervisors and then shared out, or by the state and then shared out. So ultimately, my point is that it's limited. I think the real conversation has to be about balancing productivity while balancing human connections and the needs of the organization. I think that there's a couple pieces that have prepared the department for people working from home. Number one, IT is on board. So because of COVID, all of our technicians are prepared to work from home. They have the capabilities as far as technology. We have enough systems that they can both work from home and then come into the office and connect their computers. The VPN has already been established, which means they can work securely from their home. And IT is ready and willing to connect in homes directly onto people's computers to help support them when they have an issue that comes up. So IT's there. I think another crucial component that was also missing during COVID is thinking about a policy and a practice, which I have given you as a proposed policy and procedures for remote working. This really is a baseline to set the standard for staff. We're defining it. We're providing information about who can work from home, when they can work from home, how they become eligible to work from home. The procedure outlines time worked, attendance at meetings, both face-to-face and virtually. The use of leave, because working remotely is not in place of using annual leave or sick leave. So there's some clarity on that. Safety and workman's compensation, costs associated with remote working, and to be clear, the department will not be picking up any costs associated with working remotely. This is certainly something that we're considering to help support, it's an employee benefit. It talks about confidentiality, safeguarding of information that is private. Talks about how to treat and operate county-owned equipment, how that will be checked out and secured. It talks about remote network usage, which is mandatory. And it clarifies work hours and schedules. And it goes over compliance, ensuring that supervisors are monitoring these procedures and guidelines. And then the last component is if somebody does qualify, if we said, yes, we're going to do this, there's an agreement, a remote work agreement that outlines the employee's obligations, the county's obligations, and that we're agreeing to do that. So this document really outlines everything in those procedures, but it's kind of a way to acknowledge that and make an agreement with someone. This eliminates some of those gray factors. I think there will still be things that come up that we're not sure and we're gonna have to figure out and be flexible. But I think having a firm baseline and understanding of expectations helps support remote working or hybrid working. Another piece that we have is that we already have a Lotus to measure what staff are doing as far as productivity. That's monitored through daily workflow reports. The daily workflow reports are given to each eligibility technician. In addition, it's within the database. As you can see on the remote work agreement, it's 100% time reporting. If you're gonna work from home, you're gonna provide 100% time reporting. Your productivity is gonna be monitored in the same way it's monitored from people working internally here now. And there's guidelines. You can't, some of our guidelines are 7 days, some are 30 days, some are 14, some are 45. It just depends on the program that has been applied for. But you can't not do the work. The expectation is the same for those would be the same for those working remotely. So 5 interviews a day, 3 changes an hour, 8 redeterms a day. So it just depends on which workflow you're working, but there's specific obligations for each staff, whether they're in the office or working remotely. Those wouldn't change. Those would continue to be monitored the way they're monitored now by pulling reports, by seeing what's due, making sure that each staff member has their workflow and is following it. Certainly, we as the eligibility leadership team and I have talked about how we'd keep folks engaged because those social connections they have to be maintained. We have a once a month all staff eligibility meeting, so we would continue that. We would do quarterly all staff, entire department staff, face-to-face. And then they have a brief get-together every Thursday morning downstairs, and so they would continue to do that, but offer it with a Zoom or online platform. Certainly that wouldn't be enough. We've talked about hosting office hours. We've talked about having staff join a room every day through Google Meets, and then you're just, as a supervisor, you can travel to everybody's room throughout the day to ensure, are they doing their job? What does that look like? Do they need any assistance? So we're talking about all those things. Some of them are very concrete. We would absolutely continue, and others are a little more gray. As in, we don't know. We'd have to go down that road and figure that out. And so lastly, I think the other piece is that leadership flexibility is figuring out, is it working? If it's not working, what needs tweaked? And then going back to the drawing board and tweaking it and ensuring everybody's staying in the loop. The average age of staff is 45, which is a bit higher than I thought.
Higher than you thought.
Yep. I did go over that. As I surveyed staff, 12% have committed, they would say, I would love to work from home full-time. 62% said they'd like some type of hybrid option. And then we have 26% staying in, I only want to work in the office. So I was surprised actually when I surveyed folks. In my brain, I thought some people would say, no way, Jose. And they were like, yeah, I'd totally be into that. And so I think that if we did all of those things, if we could remove one of the 6 sectors, the 6 seats thing, I don't know what they call it, from the eligibility floor and build an office there. If we did that, then potentially all of the upstairs staff, myself, Luann, and Lori could move downstairs based on some other changes and shifts that I talked to Administrator Anderson about. But it'd be a way for the 3rd floor to be completely available for those that are needing the additional space.
Kelly, I have a question.
Yeah.
I know eligibility does a lot of interviews, and those happen face-to-face. Would those now go virtual? What would that look like?
So they would go, they're set every day. They would go virtual, and most of our interviews are done over the phone besides walk-ins. And we do have people come in every day that are walking in that need something. And so we'd have to have some staff on site every day. And we know that not everybody's going to be working remotely, so it works out. But all of those now are authorized to be done over the phone. So
So for the folks that do come in, would there be no change in service, or would they just go to phone? I mean, are we gonna have enough people here to cover the current volume that we have to meet with every day? Because I know that there's a lot of folks down there that go back to meet face-to-face.
Yep. So there would be no shift in coverage. We'd have folks on site. Now, it might be that they need to talk to their specific technician, right? And in that case, we have considered putting a phone out there so that they can link right in and call their technician. But if they need help filling out an application, understanding how to do the application, submitting paperwork, explaining what paperwork they're submitting for a change, none of those service provisions would shift or change. And if they didn't want to talk to their technician on the phone, let's say it was very technician specific, one of our supervisors could pick that piece up and meet with them face to face.
And so everything that goes on in the interview rooms downstairs now would continue to go on just as it's going on now?
Yes.
There wouldn't be any change?
That's right.
So you said there was 26% that in your survey that was just from the office. So
Yes.
that's what you're saying, there's that percentage?
Yep.
And that's 16 people down there?
17, including our 2 front desks, but they can't, there's not an option for them to work
Yeah,
from
they're-
home. It's just not.
I mean, I don't know. I've actually had time to sit down and talk to Kelly specifically over this quite a while. So, I mean, I definitely have my concerns, but I'm young, but I'm old. So, I just, again, and I expressed my concern with, what are we going to create by allowing this? And I don't know. I have concerns, but I said I would be at least open-minded enough to listen to the proposal and look at the agreement. I guess I'm just old school. I'll just say it. That's my 2 cents, and it's, I think that we are creating an environment or society that we're going to create such social
Distancing.
Disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect, an absolute disconnect with what we're doing in society. And I think that, well, I'll stop. I have concerns. That's all.
No, and I think those are valid. I think that it really is, how do we nurture that human connection that people need while also supporting flexibility as well as productivity. And I don't know the right balance. And I could find data that's going to tell you staff are 20% more productive at home. I can find data that says they're not, and they actually are 7% less productive at home. I really think the crucial key is, how is leadership supporting that remote work and balancing that? And can you do it effectively for an organization?
Because, yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
Because from about 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm probably pretty focused and can get a lot of things done. After that, then I kind of start wandering. And I would not be a good candidate. I would wander. I'd be out riding my bike, and I'd be out doing 100 other things then. But from 5 a.m. to 8, I'd be great. And then from about probably 5 o'clock in the evening to 10 o'clock at night, well, not 10 o'clock, probably 8 o'clock. I don't know. That,
I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be any good for more than 30 minutes, because I can't stand to look at one of them.
see, I'm better than you. I gave you a full
But
3 hours.
I think a lot of this has to do with the type of supervision they receive as far as doing their work and making sure they're getting their work done.
Yeah.
And I'm not, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
And if personally, I think those kind of programs ought to start out, maybe 2 out of the 4 days that they work, they could do it that way, rather than all the time. Because when you lose that connection of your other workers, you learn things from your other workers when you're in contact that that they're going to lose. They're going to lose that.
100%.
So I think the hybrid type of deal, I would much rather see that type of situation than where, I mean, that's just my opinion. Because I think you learn a lot from your coworkers about different things that happen, and I think they're gonna lose that.
Yeah.
And I hate to see that. So I think I would rather see a hybrid type situation where maybe you allow them half-time that way to allow some flexibility to it. And maybe it'll work out fine without that, but I think you learn so much from your coworkers that I hate to see that go away. I mean, that's just my personal opinion but you're the one who has to supervise them, and they're your employees. So I guess I wouldn't fight you anyway about it, because you're the one that's gonna have to do it, and you're the one who has to answer for what the results are.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mr.
not
Lindsay?
trying to tell you how to do your
I don't
your
think
employees.
I didn't either. I just said I have questions.
Yeah.
I have concerns. I have,
Well, I think all
You
of us
know-
do. I'm sure she does.
you know,
You
through
know,
feel the
'cause
COVID.
same.
when you start doing this sort of thing, you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, you know, they
she's
have a
putting
lot of
herself
things
out
that are detrimental to people through COVID. You know, day drinking. The hell, they're singing songs about day drinking now because it's a thing. That's part of working from home, because you could stay home and start day drinking at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's going to happen, but that social disconnect is a real issue that we're facing right now, and we only had it for a couple of years. So, yeah, I'm not. I have concerns, and like I said, that's it. Commissioner Lindsay, anything?
Yeah, when I first looked at this and, we talked this over, I had some concerns. Some of them have been laid aside by Kelli's presentation of policies and her being able to say she's going to really monitor them and be able to do that. I agree with Gerald. They can't have a disconnect. Kelli, is there any way we can phase this in?
Yeah, I absolutely do think that we can phase it in. And I think that's the ideal scenario, because we're going to have kinks along the way. And I certainly want to be proactive and be identifying those before people are 100% remote. I do think it was expedited because of the need for space.
Right.
I think that most of these folks are going to be extremely happy with a hybrid scenario. Even some of these people, like our Colorado Works staff member, she wants to work, if it was an option, she'd want to work from home 100% of the time, but she has to meet with her clients every week. So she'd come in, check out one of the meeting rooms for the entire day, and meet with them every Tuesday, for instance. And so there's some level where folks would be coming in. But ultimately, to answer your question, Commissioner Lindsay, yes, we could absolutely phase it in and work out the kinks and the bugs early on.
Yeah, I couldn't stand in the way of phasing it in, Jim. I think we have a need for space, and it might solve our space problem. We don't know. So I think we should give it a try, because it's something we haven't done.
All right, any other questions?
No.
Oh, I'm fine.
And I was listening so I could be down here. You guys move so fast. I was like, oh, I gotta go. And then you guys were without me. But anyways, as far as space from the department and the needs, this really came up as an alternative solution. Certainly it's been brought up before that. But I would say one of the real areas where we need space is for visitation for our families. Visitation really should be as home-like as possible, and that's happening once kids are removed from their families, and that's a minimum of 3 times a week. Right now, that visitation's happening in a vault. There's no windows, there's not a kitchen, and cooking or sharing a meal is really common for visits. That's a way to connect and bond. It's in a room with no windows, no nothing. It's a vault. It's a terrible location. This certainly doesn't solve that issue. But thinking long-term about where the department and the department's needs, and as we move towards an administrative process for child support, And that means that instead of taking every case to court to establish child support, we're going to start doing those in-house through meetings. We need to have additional meeting space. If we lose the third floor, we're losing one of our only other meeting spaces that we have. And so I certainly want to be mindful that we're making a compromise for the short term, and I'm hopeful that in the long term, we can figure out a better long-term solution to the needs of the department. We've also had to bypass some opportunities and grants. The financial assistance grant, it was really where it was an opportunity to provide financial direct one-on-one support to teach people how to spend money, who are working really with an individual person who's trained in that. That really aligns with everything that we are doing here. We want people to spend responsibly and become independent, but we don't have the space or a place to house that or to even put that. And so, sure, down the road, those are all thought processes, things that are going to be important for the department.
All right. Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Okay, very good. Thanks,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Okay, Miss Emily. Come on down.
Hello, gentlemen, in person and virtually. And yes, that I'm here means I'm not on a jury. So I'm happy to be here.
My
Yeah.
wife is there too.
Yeah.
Is she on a jury?
I don't know if I'm at liberty to say
Oh,
anything.
well.
So.
I'll ask her.
Anyway, just some quick updates. So I guess we just switched around when I'm doing my presentation. So I'm glad this all worked out. Tierney gave me some great updates about the 4-H program. So that she has done some different knitting and sewing classes, which has gotten some kiddos really excited in the idea of 4-H. And, you know, that's something Tierney really enjoys. So it's cute to see little kids making crocheting little bunnies. So I think that's for the crocheting class in January, and she opened it up on the 29th of November, and that afternoon she had 9 of the 10 seats filled. So it's just getting kids interested in fun little things like this. She had a goal of getting 27 new member enrollments, she had a goal of getting 20 new enrollments, and she had 27 so far. She had a goal of having 5 new leaders, and she has 8, so that's pretty cool. So re-enrollment is open until December 31st, so that's if your child has already been in 4-H, they need to re-enroll by the end of this year. But if you're new to 4-H, you can enroll at any time. You just have to follow the enrollment guidelines for specific projects. The 4-H clubs are hard at work, using their hands for larger service to help the community. So I think there might be a picture of some kids. They were doing some food bank donations, angel trees, writing letters to soldiers. Just to name, yeah, I think that's them at the food bank. So that, is a part of 4-H, is giving back to the community. So it's really great to see kids doing that. They were in the parade of lights, so didn't have time to get that picture to you guys for this presentation, but I think that went really well. We're working with the Fair Board we have some, and I mentioned this briefly to Travis, we have some restructuring of some finance accounts that CSU would like us to redo how we're doing those, and the Fair Board knows about that. So we're going to work on some fun things like that this year. And then we rewrote or just did some brief updates to our MOU with the Fair Board, and I've sent that up to CSU for CSU approval. CSU does not let anybody locally sign anything anymore. It has to go to people on campus. So that's the process, and we're going through it. Just other programs, so getting this Colorado Master Irrigator program off. LORE is probably going to come through with some really great funding, so really appreciative to them. That program will start January 18th, and I'm working with Neva Connolly with High Desert and Mancos Conservation Districts and Gus Westerman up in Dolores County on that, and it will target irrigators in Montezuma and Dolores counties. Then I got a small Western Sarah mini grant to host some livestock care workshops. So that's been a request of shortage of vets, as I'm sure Commissioner Kopenhofer is very well aware of. And so it's like, well, what can we do to help support people to prevent issues, know what to do, especially smaller owners who may be newer to the area, newer to owning livestock. What are ways that they can establish better care relationships with their veterinarian, and how can they prevent issues from arising? So I'm going to kick off with a webinar with Dr. Reagan Adams. She's a vet with CSU Extension, and we're going to do a webinar January 23rd, just to try to gauge what are the questions that we think people are asking, but to get a better idea of what people want, and then do an in-person on a Saturday. And we haven't set a date yet, but either February 24th or March 2nd, probably do kind of an all-day event of having some hands-on things, but then having people in person to give presentations and have lots of time for people to ask questions. I have a HPAI update. I've been keeping our dear friend Jim Spratlin updated on the highly pathogenic avian influenza. So there hadn't been an outbreak for a super long time, and now there's been a few outbreaks. So there was one in Montrose on November 13th, in a backyard flock, and that has been taken care of. And recently, on the 29th of November and the 30th of November, there's been cases in eastern Colorado, in Morgan and Bent counties. So it's not directly impacting us, here with cases in Montezuma County, but just something to be aware of for backyard flock owners, especially of those preventative measures. If you're walking around in goose poop or something like that, don't go back home and go walk with the same shoes around your bird. So keeping wild birds away from domestic birds is the best way to prevent the disease. And it's super contagious. So not a lot you can do once that disease has gotten into your flock. So we have an advisory meeting on the 12th, kind of wrapping the year up in the extension office for that. We've changed our office hours, so we're now closed on Fridays. We're still open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30. So far, so good. Hasn't been going on for too long. I haven't received angry phone calls, so I'm going to call it a success for now. But call me if you are angry. And
Remember, everybody heard that?
yeah.
Call her if you were angry.
Yeah.
And what's your phone number?
Yeah.
564-4170. Let me
Yeah.
pronounce that, or let me say that again, 970-564-4170. Call Emily if you're angry.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. We have some different ideas that I don't know if they'll come to anything, but working with the Conservation District, they have some funding and talking about how we could share a position. I know you're just talking about, space issues, so Travis and I are going to meet with the Conservation District just to talk some of those options through, what could be possible, how do we meet needs, not requesting taxpayer money, things like that. So I think those are kind of all the things that wanted to update you guys on. Otherwise, we're doing our end of year reporting for CSU, which is very fun. And then I get to train new employees how to do fun CSU things like that. So kind of trying to wrap up our year, but then at the same time, just ran into someone else. It's almost spring, it feels like that. I feel like you're ending the year, but the growing season feels just around the corner for planning for the next year.
So, question on this.
Sure.
Obviously, it's four Saturdays in a row.
Thursdays.
I'm sorry,
No worries. Yeah.
Thursdays. So it's just in the evening? I didn't see a time on that.
And that might be a draft. That would be a very good thing to have on there. It's an
Because
8.
unless I just missed it.
I don't think you did. I think you're right. So it's all day. So there are 8-hour meetings. So it'll go.
It's all day long.
Yeah. So it's an intense series of classes. So it's supposed to be pretty in depth for adding a lot of knowledge, and we're bringing in speakers. That's a lot of the cost is to bring in speakers from all over the state, and hopefully some folks from New Mexico as well.
Okay, well.
Yeah, so we'll see how
I mean, it sounds interesting. I was thinking about it a little bit, but 4 Thursdays in a row and 8 hours a day, I'm not
I'm
not quite sure my schedule will allow that.
I've had this program was specifically requested by a farmer. So hopefully other farmers feel the same. And It'll be a lot of information. Also hoping to build kind of a community where folks can share, like, this is what's working for me, this is not working for me. Maybe follow up with a summer field day where then we can follow up on the information that we learned and, how do you carry it into reality? So,
Okay. All right.
yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily.
Oh, did Commissioner Lindsay?
Yeah, me.
Questions?
Just congratulations to the 4-H kids on their parade. That was nice.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll tell Tierney.
Great.
Okay, well, and you feel better.
I will.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, guys, with that, we have come to the end of our agenda, so this meeting is adjourned, 2:55. Thank you all.